Oh, this one's so fun. Okay, so a heartwarming tale. So this one is one of those like story episodes, right? So it tells sort of the story of like heartwarming Eve, and so again, it's kind of like Christmas Eve, and it's basically like the story of the Grouch, right? And so it's basically like the story of Scrooge, right? And I mean, you guys know Scrooge, you gotta be happy, you gotta be cheerful. But there's like this cool way they twist it, and so let's look at that real quick, and we'll start it off with the song that kind of gives you the background of what's going on here.
Let's get a move on. We got a ton to see and barely any time to see it.
I'm not going anywhere. I've got a spell to cast, and I don't need a history lesson about Hearthwarming Eve.
We aren't going to the past to learn about the holiday. We're going to learn about you. As a young thing, life sure is something. You go making choices large and small. Always growing like a seedling and playing this like dreaming. And before you know it, big and tall. And every little bitty choice you make sends you down a path to who you are today. So let's take a little trip down memory lane and see just what the past has to say. Oh, look how cute you were. Looks like you're not too upset it's Hearthwarming Eve either. The seeds of the past, they grow pretty fast. Just look at who you were back then. The seeds as they grow, look what they can show. Reveal the truth time and again.
Just what do you think you're doing, Snowfall?
Decorating the classroom for Hearthwarming Eve, Professor Flintheart.
You said you wanted to learn to be a powerful unicorn, did you not?
I do.
And what is the way that one becomes a powerful unicorn?
Work hard, learn, and use your skills to better Equestria.
And how do these help you to learn magic?
I want to be strong enough to stop Wendigos and help ponies.
That's just a story we tell little ponies. Real magic takes time to learn. It's your choice. Spend your time learning to become a powerful unicorn, or play with your toys and make nothing of yourself.
Then some distress, words so careless, standing there you don't know what to do. Feeling helpless, you can't make it hurt less, so you go and change your point of view. And in that moment, though you didn't know it, your defenses set up walls you built to last, leading to the pony you become today. And the spell you're about to cast, it all comes from your past.
The seeds of the past, we grow up so fast. Some hurts never go away.
The seeds as they grow, this we can't let go, all tied to this one holiday.
So she like wants to end the entire holiday, and it all stems from the past, right? This idea of this traumatic childhood experience that fundamentally destroys who she is. And so it's so important that if you have like these traumatic experiences in your past, or their history, or whatever it is that you're doing, and they're leading you to this path you don't want to follow in the future, you've got to overcome. You've got to persist. You've got to persevere through the troubles, through the hardships, and freaking make a decision that you're going to go on the better route. That you're going to look, acknowledge the past, right? Like acknowledge things that are negative and say, okay, got it. Yep, this is negative. And then freaking drop it and go towards the future that you desire. Because the instant that you do that, everything changes. With Starlight, this, there's a story obviously, but it's this idea that like she's looking in at everybody having such an amazing time. She used to have such an amazing time, but she was distraught by one small traumatic event, and that event crushed her and led her to, create this huge like potion that she's making right now, like end Heartswarming Eve or end Christmas, whatever, and like destroy everybody's happiness. And it's this selfish idea that she has, that she is going to make herself happier and give herself a boost in the short term by destroying this holiday. But in reality, what it's going to do is absolutely freaking destroy every single person's happiness on the planet by removing one of the most sacred holidays that they have and absolutely crushing their hopes, their dreams, their aspiration of success, happiness, fulfillment. And it's all coming from this thing that she thinks is right, but it's just plain wrong. And we see that so clearly as Luna jumps in and shows her exactly what happens as this starts to actually have an impact.
I see a cold wind blowing through. I see days neither fun nor free. I see a future caused by you. I see a path not meant to be. The future should be filled with magic, dreams and wishes brought to life. But the days ahead are dark and tragic. No time for hope when all is strife. Whatever might have been, all the dreams that ponies share, because of you, snowfall, frost. Now the future is a cold nightmare.
Wendigos? They aren't real. It's just a little Philly story.
They are all too real, Snowfall, and your actions will allow them to return. The future of Equestria shall be bathed in a blanket of eternal snow.
No, I never meant for this to happen. I didn't understand. I didn't see how important Heartswarming Eve was. Please, Spirit, I haven't cast the spell yet. Is there still time? I'm sorry!
And so she realizes that everything will be destroyed if there's no happiness, if there's no joy. And what she's doing is she's taking all the positivity, all of the great emotions, realizes, in the story and in reality, that the only way to progress is with positivity and happiness. And you gotta work away from, going towards pain or going towards the crap. It just doesn't work. All right, you have to get rid of this negativity and really just focus exclusively on what is best for everyone, for the whole group in the long term. And that's exactly what she does. And so, she doesn't have the potion, she doesn't do it, and then she saves the holiday, right? And everyone's super happy, and they get to have a huge party, right? And this idea comes up. It's this idea that, you've got to put in the effort and put in the work to create and maintain those strong relationships and go super, super hard with the people that you care about. And one of the best ways to do that is through the constant, refreshing, right? With the holidays and with all these cheering. It's just a really, really great, time to be around those that you care about and want to continue developing the best possible relationships with. Which is awesome, right? Awesome. An appeal that everybody likes. Think about it like this. If you could take what you want someone to do and instead of just making it for them or for you or for the company, what if you could appeal to their higher motives? This is so huge. It's awesome. So instead of you should go and get this birthday cake you should go buy the birthday cake, right? Instead, it's selling it as a relationship, selling it as something for your family, right? So you should buy the birthday cake for your mom because your mom's important and everyone needs to love their mom. Or this idea that you need to get this insurance versus you need to get this insurance for XYZ reason. Just by the simple act of having a reason that you need to do something or that someone should do something, it makes it 10 times more likely they'll actually freaking do it. It's just so powerful. It's this simple concept that, like, if you want to cut, in the front of the line in a grocery store, and you want to, like, say, hey, can I go in front of you? Like, maybe, well, I don't know, like a couple of people might say yes. And then you say, hey, can I go in front of you because I'm running late to my meeting? Okay, sure, more people might probably agree with you. Now, what if you appeal to their higher motives and say, hey, can I cut in front of you because it's my mom's birthday today, or my mom's in the hospital? Who do you think they're going to think about? Thinking about, well, what happens if my mom was in the hospital? Of course you can come in front of me. Go right ahead, right? Instantly through the front. Appeal to their higher motives. Give them a reason to do what you want them to do because of a motive that they personally are so deeply and emotionally connected. Remember, emotions are like the most powerful thing in the whole wide world. And so if you can, like, attach the goal or the action that you want them to take with their quality, higher order emotions that are associated with these deep relationships they have, if you can form this connection between them and their emotions and their relationships and their actions, it's going to be 10 times easier for you to get in front of people and convince them to do, whatever it is that you want them to do, which is so powerful. You're selling financial planning, like, are you selling financial planning, or are you selling their mother's future? It's this differentiation. You just have to change the wording a little bit. Think about the marketing. Think about how you're saying this. It doesn't have to be like a product or a service. It can just be you. Excuse me, potential employer, right? Like, think about seeing if you can, like, leverage your background. If you have, like, this troubled background and you came from a tough place, like, make somebody get in the pits with you and feel your origin story, feel your background, feel your identity, and understand exactly where you're coming from so that, like, they see themselves in that same position and they can emotionally attach themselves to where you used to be or where you might be, and they can eradicate the doubt that they have. They can destroy the fear and focus exclusively on the positive emotions that are going to lead to the completion of the action that you desire them to take. And we see this kind of applied so much. It's really just, you want to get going at the higher level, which is so powerful. And it's awesome. Saddle Row Review. Okay, so Rarity, she's opening a new store in Manhattan, right? So she's just, like, absolutely crushing it. Business is booming. They're growing, they're expanding, and they're having an amazing time. So she goes to open this new store, and at the beginning, it's just like this huge empty building, right? And it's got, like, maybe this, like, display window, but basically, like, it's just like her, right? And there's nothing else really going on. And so Rarity comes in and she's like, okay, well, I gotta make an entire store in, like, a couple of days. It's gonna be a little bit challenging. There's a lot of stuff to do here. And so what does she do? She leverages the power of her friendship group. She leverages the power of the mastermind. She gets her friends to come with her. And so they all come and they have their special, unique abilities, right? Remember, this is the insane power of this power base. And they're gonna help her to create and to do in a couple of days. It would take probably her alone weeks and weeks to accomplish, which is just insane. And so the first thing they do is they have to sort of, so, like, the landlord who, like, rents this place really wants to give their daughter, like, a job, and so she's, like, making Rarity, like, hire her daughter, which is, like, ridiculous, because she's, like, really bad at sales, and again, like, fashion and then just, like, having clothing. It's basically like an all sales. It's just like, minimum wage sales job, right? And so that's sort of what she's working with here. And so as they're putting up, like, all the decorations, they're basically turning this place from, like, an empty box into, like, an actual store. Everyone has to, like, focus on their strengths, right? So problems start to rise. Like, there's raccoons in the store all over the place. And so Fluttershy, she has to go and she has to deal with all these raccoons. She has to figure out, okay, well, what's the best thing we can do with the raccoons? Similarly, with Applejack and Twilight, like, they have to make the entire store into a reality. So they have to, like, figure out, okay, well, how exactly are we gonna organize the clothes, you know? There's just so, like, it's just a lot of stuff, for them to do, right? And so they just go through it one by one. And then slight problem happens a little bit deeper into the episode. It turns out there's like a huge nightclub right above the boutique, and so they have like this DJ, right? And it's just like a huge party, like all the time, and it's like super hype. But the problem is like there's super loud dance music in the club all the time. So Pinky, she goes up and gets them to swap the dance music for like some relaxing classical music. And the DJ's all for it. They have an amazing time and they love it, right? So it works for both of them, right? It's this idea that like, you know, the situation, it might be difficult, it might be strenuous, and it might not be working just yet, right now. But if you just think about it a little bit, you put a little bit of work into it, all of a sudden what you can do is you can have a huge impact on those around you, and specifically like you can get them to do what you want and still have everybody win at the end. And that's really exactly what Pinky does here, and it's so powerful. Because this would like originally be a really difficult situation to solve, but she steps back, she does some critical thinking, she figures out how to make it work for everyone. And since it works for everyone, it means it's gonna be, you know, increased vibrations, positivity, energy, and flow. And it's a great, you know, influencer for the entire atmosphere of the whole space. You know, they get this ambience, this music, and it's awesome for everyone. And it works out because there's always, you know, like this idea of something works for them that works for them, and they just need to spend a little bit of time finding it, and that's exactly what Pinky does. And then what Fluttershy does is these raccoons, you know, they don't really have anywhere to live, so she gives them a little job, and so the raccoons, they go around the store giving people like, well, their job, right, is to give people like tea and like other baked goods, so they just get like, they give people free food so they'll buy stuff. I'd love to. And so they have these like little waiters now, like these little raccoon waiters, which is like the coolest thing ever, right? And so she does that just by like taming the animals and befriending them. Instead of like forcing them out and saying they can't live here, like what she does is she completely ignores negativity, she ignores force, and she gives them a little drop of honey. And that drop of honey, remember, is so much more powerful than a gallon of gold. And the drop of honey for the raccoons is that they have like a place to live, and they can live in some nice air conditioning, some heat, you know, whatever they need at night, and they have food. And so she gives them that incentive to stay and then work for Rarity at the boutique, and then just continue to support everyone that's there, which is like super cool. And it kind of all stems from giving them a reason to do it, right? Which is awesome, and that's how she does it. And then similarly, you know, Twilight, I mean, they just go through the process, right? Just setting up the store and making it happen. Rainbow Dash, not like a whole lot of fashion, right? So you got to focus on like their strengths, right? And so you have this huge circle, right? And Fluttershy, she gets a ton of her awesome stuff done with the animals. And similarly, you know, Pinky gets so many great things done with the music and the parties. And Rarity's already done so much of the work, just getting like the store ready with dresses and like actual merchandise. And there's just a little teeny little bit left for the rest of them. And they just have to focus on what they know they can do and what they're good at. For Twilight, like that's organization, right? And so she absolutely crushes that little aspect of the project. And then Applejack, like she's great at construction, right? So she like actually builds the project. And it works out amazing because they're all able to focus on the unique ability and what really works for them. And because of that, they're able to like turn this place around so quick, bam, right? Like fast. And they have this huge, and basically like while they're doing this, it's not easy, right? It's never gonna really be easy. It's just a lot of work for them to do it. And so because of that, they go through this process, they keep doing it over and over, and they're overcoming their challenges and their failures. And so to stop Rarity, like this is the bad thing, right? They lock Rarity in like the front display window for like the entire time they're working on construction. Because they don't want her to like see it midway when it's like not finished and it looks really bad. And so often like we have managers, or we are managers, where like you'll do some work and you're trying your real best. You know like what the end goal is. You know what you need to work on, and you know what needs to happen. But like during the process, it doesn't look too pretty, and you just need some time to get it done. And you have managers that come in and swoop in and say, "Oh, this is awful," and they point out mistakes, they point out flaws, they point out critiques. I remember so often. I had this one guy who'd come in, or not he'd come in. It was this manager named, and he would like point out like where we missed mopping on the floor when we were trying to serve like 20 people sandwiches at Subway, right? And it's like, yes, you know, that matters. And yes, you know, thanks so much for showing me what I missed. But like, you've got to point out successes, and you have to point out positive things. You have to tell people what they do well, right? And it's not about the negativity. And Rarity's not negative, and so I think they just kind of lock her in here just to get stuff done and keep her out of the way, and have their own creative process. But it's this idea that like you always want to focus on, especially in any kind of management. You want to let people stick with what works and what they're good at. You don't want to like, you know, stretch them out, but kind of more importantly is you just can't micromanage them and critique every little single thing they do. Like I will literally, like I don't care if the people that work for me make mistakes. Like it's not a big deal. Like I'll just go behind the back and I'll fix it at the beginning. Only if something like is a problem on a recurring basis, like over and over again, should you ever like step in and maybe try to just resolve it very carefully. Because it's so much more important that you maintain that self-confidence, that you are successful and you are great at what you do. Because if you do that, the overall quality of your work is going to increase so much more than any little smidget or error could ever even like hope to bring down the quality. So definitely a huge key concept there for management. And that's talked about a whole lot more principles by Ray Dalio, which is like super cool. Ooh. Applejack's day off. Oh my god, this is like funniest, weirdest thing. So like, Applejack is like going super hard every single day because apparently she's like the coolest person on the planet, right? And that's so awesome. And so Twilight and Rarity, they see that she's working really hard, and they say, look, you know what? We should have like a day off. We should go and do some fun stuff at the spa. And so she goes away from her farm, goes over to the spa, and when they get to the spa, there's this big line for the steam room. So they wait so they can get into the sauna. And as they're waiting in this line, they just keep getting like hot towels after hot towels after hot towels from the staff, right? And the problem is that the line is taking forever because the steam room isn't really like heating up. There's not enough steam, and so it's not like the sauna's not working, right? And so Applejack, you know, it's her day off, but like she wants to kind of fix this and make it work. And so she realizes that there's sort of like a leaky pipe somewhere, right? A leaky valve, and it's leaking a little bit of steam. And so because of that, you know, they're giving everybody these hot towels since they're waiting in line. And the laundry that they're using to heat up the towels and wash them and then clean them and give them back to everybody over and over again uses a ton of water, uses a ton of steam. And so it just kind of multiplies the effect that this small leak has. It compounds it into something much more impactful. Because like originally it would be working fine, and this leak, it would just kind of decrease it a little bit. But because there's all this demand on the water and the washing machines, for the towels, the people that are in line, it goes into a significantly less productive state, right? And so there's a serious lack of water pressure to create steam, and so it won't work, it won't heat up. And so what Applejack does, she goes and she like gets her toolkit out, and she fixes this leak, and then she makes them stop doing laundry for like 10 minutes. And then the steam room like heats up and everybody's happy. And she saw like this problem that it compounding, you know, all day. She just abolishes it, gets rid of it, with just a little bit of her skilled handiwork, which is like super cool, right? Like she's showcasing her skills and she's helping everybody out. She's not really doing a great job of like taking a day off, which is like a shame because she's working all the time, which is just crazy. So, you know, they still want to help her, you know, Twilight, already, like they see this and they're like, okay, cool, you know, you did your thing, but like, why don't we go home and just have some peace and quiet, you do whatever you want. She's like, no, she's got like her chores, right? And so she goes to her farm, right? And she's just doing, like you see this picture, right? It's just weird stuff. For no reason whatsoever. And she see what happens is like she gets stuck in these rituals and these patterns and these habits that, you know, used to help, used to be great, used to be productive, used to be important. But at this point in her life, they're just destroying her output, her potential, and her productivity, which is like a shame. It's awful. And so here's like this example she has with these pigs, right? And you know, they're just sitting in their pen, and they're pigs, because they're cool, I guess. And what she does is, like, she's feeding them like corn, I guess. And she'll like get, like, she'll like tie herself into a rope on a crane and like fly over the fence, and then use like a fishing rod or a stick with like some corn on the end of it, like lure these guys out of their pen to the towards the feeding bins, which is just like the most ridiculously and overcomplicated thing like ever, and it just makes no sense whatsoever just to get these pigs, you know, over to their feeding bins with like some bait, I guess. It's just insane. The complexity is ridiculous. It makes no sense whatsoever, like why she's doing this. And so, you know, a lot of times we have these problems and we're not, you know, working at our peak potential, and we're trapped, you know, a little bit below where we really should be. You know, we're here, but we know it can get this high. And to get there, a lot of times it just takes, you know, a friend to come and have that outside perspective to help you look in at what you're doing and figure out the best way to approach a problem that you might just never ever see. It might take you years of experience or years of trying to figure out what they can determine in just a couple of minutes. And that's really exactly what happens here. So like Applejack, she's been doing this for like this you know, this floating and fishing rod thing for years and years and years, because like the fence used to squeak a whole lot when she opened it, and because the fence squeaked, it scared them, and then they ran away. And so she did this as a way to sort of be quiet, and then you know, carefully lure them over to eat their food, because they have to eat food or else they'll sort of like die, right? And it doesn't really make sense. Like she should just like feed them, right? Just give them food. That's all she's got to do. And at the same time, right, she actually fixed this fence years and years and years ago, so the fence doesn't squeak anymore. It's not a problem anymore. And yet she still has this old habit that's like rooted in her beliefs and what she does in her actions, in her daily ritual, to just, for some reason or another, like, have this huge complicated setup. And so her friends look at this and they say, look, you gotta stop doing this. This is like ridiculous, and it does not help whatsoever. And it takes up like just a ridiculous amount of her time, and she's like throwing away her time to solve a problem that used to exist but is now like completely gone, totally ruined, just totally removed from her life. Another really great example. She goes, you know, into her pig pens, and in her pig pen, or not her pig pens, her chicken coops. And in the chicken coops, right, like it's not like she's working too hard or she's going too fast, but the problem with it is like, it just isn't the smartest way to do it, right? So she goes row by row by row by row by row by row, and she'll like heat them up and pick them up, and it's just this ridiculously time-consuming process. And it's like, if friends see this and they're like, what are you doing, dude? Just get the eggs and get out of there. And so she like does this for a couple of chores that she has over and over and over again, and she like reduces the amount of time it takes her to do her daily things by like a factor of 2 or 3. And so by removing all this unnecessary crap, all of a sudden she has so much more free time and so much more productivity, all because she consulted her friends for outside help, and she can now reach this peak performance and peak productivity and output that she desires. She goes from having like nothing having massive levels of success and output, which allows her to buy time both now and in the future to finally like go and just relax, take a break, and walk away from the farm, walk away from the duties, because she gets it done faster. So many people, this is in the 4-hour work, the freaking coolest thing ever. You know, Tim talks about this concept of like working to work, and that's exactly what Applejack's do. She's working because she has a habit of working. She wants to work instead of working to get things done, instead of working to get results, which is what you should be focusing on and what you should be doing, right? It's so powerful. Just a mindset shift of saying, I want to get the most possible done instead of I want to work for the greatest possible amount of time. So definitely a huge game changer there. For our work, it's freaking insane. And that's one of the biggest concepts you see in writing.